welcome. We're back once again. It's me and Ryan here, and today we're excited to share this important investment note. Yes, that's right.
There are numerous thick books and notes.
Hey there! Yes, there are a total of 7 pages, but actually 8 pages, though the text is quite small. Haha, so I didn't give you all of it.
Your text is simply small, that's all.
Hey, that's true.
In fact, if you wrote in a more conventional manner, there would definitely be more than 10 pages filled with content here.
If you took your time and carefully told the story, sentence by sentence, there would surely be a lot to share today. But today, since there are so many of you joining us, hi everyone. Feel free to engage and chat with us on the message board whenever you like. Additionally, if you find that you can't hear clearly today, it's due to a minor technical issue with the microphone, so please do let me know if you experience any difficulties or problems. Now, let's discuss today's market situation, beginning with the Hang Seng Index, as today's developments are somewhat critical, and I would like to ask for your insights on it.
What's the key critical point here?
The critical point is the ceiling. It seems like it can't break through 232. Still not there. Yes, it can't push upward right now, so, well, the bulls haven't arrived yet since they are still quite a distance away. Recently, it appears to be fluctuating between 21,000 and 22,100. Recently, the latest popular figures are the cowboys.
So hey, we primarily focus on the diverse animals.
Yes, it's not solely because you have to play the index immediately alongside futures. Otherwise, you can choose to play bulls and bears or perhaps utilize call and put options, right?
Always opening up, you take out a bull, unseal a red one, then attend the meeting, and afterward, you'll likely face the consequences.
So why are you so bold? What do you mean? I have tried it myself. In fact, some colleagues at my previous company were just beginning to learn the new system. They placed substantial bets on the bulls, but after even a single trip to the restroom, their money was gone. It highlights how quickly fortunes can vanish, especially for newcomers betting large amounts who might get caught off guard if they step away. However, today I would like to ask you one important thing. Last week, if we really listened to Ryan, he mentioned that there is indeed a potential chance to reach 24,000. Yes, that's right.
But it was extremely expensive yesterday. This season, yes, it's not just one short week. In fact, there are still 2 whole months left to enjoy. 1.5 months plus a bit more. March isn't here yet before March 31st.
Well, today it has already reached an impressive total of 22,000. 944 has been reached. So, Andy, just yesterday, it remarkably broke through the significant 23,000 mark, reaching a high of 23,241. So what are your thoughts on the current popular trend happening now? Because I don't know if this is a double top or what level it is.
What level is it?
It's another round of attempts, but it hasn't yet broken through the top.
I see a double top pattern with the previous high at 23,241 and the recent one at 23,141, just 100 points apart. Let's observe if it succeeds. The premise of a double top is that it must not break through. Only then can it be considered a double top. So actually, tomorrow, it's crucial. Any bullish or bearish operation you do now is just guessing whether it will break through or not.
No analysis exists.
There is essentially no comprehensive analysis to speak of in this context. It's purely focused on technical analysis. You must diligently calculate the probability of what could potentially happen next, based on the patterns and trends that have already occurred in the past market data. So let's take a closer look at some objective indicators we can analyze, beginning with a specific metric known as RWSI. Wow, it's at 80. RWSI is at 80, which is exaggerated. Last time it also reached 80, and at this level, opening a long position seems risky. It seems that profit-taking is starting to emerge in the market, and I believe this is quite a reasonable development. You bought at 20,000 to 21,000 points. If you don't take profit now, how can you justify that?
Right.
Also, especially considering that data's been waiting for a long time, what you're talking about isn't all buying. Not all of it is flags, not all warrants, not buying index products, not buying the tracker fund, but many are buying heavyweight stocks. Yes, maybe buying Tencent. It's not surprising that these big players are buying Tencent at these levels. This situation will consequently limit the overall market's upward momentum. However, overall, I feel that there isn't a distinctly negative shift in the overall atmosphere of our environment.
And the recent news appears to lean towards some increasingly positive sentiments overall. Because, well, although there are some news updates today, I want to continue discussing an important topic. A few days ago, Xi Jinping convened a significant meeting that drew considerable attention. Yes, it was a meeting with private enterprises, the Conference on Private Sector Work, and, well, it has been 6 years since the last one. So I was thinking, why do I feel a bit optimistic about the market? Because I've always been a bull, although I've had some doubts, but are you really a bull? I was a bull before. So then at this moment, I have no strong opinion as both sides are fluctuating. The private enterprises are beginning to hold meetings highlighting that the earlier issues stemmed from the serious troubles in the real estate sector, including unresolved debt crises and various other problems that remain unaddressed. Now it seems Xi Jinping wants to find some private enterprises to help out. It's like initially support the growth of private enterprises and then allow them to take the lead in guiding China's economy back to recovery gradually. What do you think?
I think it's a puzzle. If we look at it this way, our most direct interpretation is that, oh, the central government has a meeting on private enterprises and a group of private enterprise leaders come out. That's my first interpretation. Oh, the central government supports private enterprises, yes. And then the second point is, which private enterprises are they supporting, or which industries? Let's list them one by one.
Yes, there's Ren Zhengfei, the founder of Huawei, and yes, Ren Zhengfei is indeed from Huawei, along with Ma Huateng, who is the founder of Tencent. But please pay attention to this important detail.
CCTV didn't report on Ma Huateng.
Why is that?
I didn't notice this detail before, but you mentioned that during the listing of names, the CCTV coverage surprisingly did not mention Ma Huateng at all. This omission is quite intriguing, especially considering that this particular meeting did indeed release an accompanying news photo. So everyone clearly recognized the others, indeed, yes. In the middle, many recognize various people, but not Ma Huateng.
Oh, no wonder sometimes I get asked on the comment board, actually, where's Ma Huateng, the CEO of Tencent these days? Then I read the news. Oh, no, he was just sitting there, sitting on the side.
But yes, at first when I watched the new media, sitting in the middle, let me show you a picture. Okay.
Then what do you think of the new media?
I'm not certain if it was Xinhua News Agency or CCTV. I really can't recall at the moment. When reporting this particular matter, there was no indication of Ma Huateng attending the event at all. Usually they will list a number of names. Yes, the ranking is always in order.
That's true.
But sometimes if you can't distinguish the order, you count strokes.
Yes?
But in reality, they truly wouldn't neglect counting Ma Huateng. Yes, he belongs to the distinguished group of influential business leaders, including well-known figures like Ren Zhengfei, Jack Ma, and Lei Jun, among other prominent entrepreneurs. These individuals often engage in formal interactions, such as shaking hands with the chairman and participating in significant discussions.
What do you think this particular statement means? How do you personally interpret it?
Sometimes I believe there's truly no reason to over-interpret things, yes, indeed. It's not that the central government or the reports from CCTV or the text disseminated by CCTV lack any codes. There are always underlying codes present, and there are consistently some messages being conveyed. However, at this point, we are discussing private enterprises. And we need to turn back and examine the significant rise of private enterprises, which is certainly intricately connected to China's unique economic and social environment, right? But isn't it directly due to the significant central support that they were able to evolve into such a remarkably strong and successful enterprise? I'm currently experiencing some doubts about that situation. We are aware that, in fact, mainland China actively supported and assisted these pioneering companies, such as Alibaba and Tencent. Basically, they built a wall that eliminated their competitors. So this is the inherent environment. However, these companies might not possess exceptional skills in developing new technologies from the ground up, but they certainly excel in effectively applying and leveraging existing technologies to enhance their operations and products. For instance, in various payment scenarios, effectively addressing social networking issues, or exploring innovative ways to leverage their existing social networks to offer additional valuable services to users. These are notable strengths of private enterprises, and you might be curious whether they receive adequate support and resources from the central government. It seems there are no subsidies, etc. This is very different from electric vehicles, which are fully supported by central subsidies. The various policies implemented for electric vehicles, or EVs, have significantly contributed to their growth and expansion to the impressive scale they currently occupy in the market. Each of these policies has its own set of justifications and underlying reasons, reflecting the diverse motivations behind the push for cleaner transportation alternatives and sustainable practices. However, is it possible that there will be a public meeting during which the highest-ranking central leaders will explicitly express their support for private enterprises, stating clearly, "I fully support private enterprises, and this stance will not change in the foreseeable future"? But will it truly be particularly beneficial for us?
Yes.
And could it be that the most obvious benefit of the situation is already the notably low interest rate factor? However, I think it might not be the only significant advantage we should consider in this context. It's essential for us to carefully analyze how the market perceives the significant role of deep tech innovations for these companies moving forward. Deep tech integration is a hot topic. Right. So perhaps eventually, those domestic companies will also enter this market and we'll see if their stock prices rise to sufficient levels. However, one crucial aspect that everyone needs to carefully consider is how, after successfully integrating AI into their operations, you can effectively generate new and innovative revenue prospects that will drive growth and sustainability in the business landscape. Secondly, consider how to effectively create synergies with your current existing business operations. This is undoubtedly the most significant and pressing issue currently faced by society.
However, just now Wayne mentioned an intriguing detail. The founder of DC Comics is also in attendance at this important conference, adding significant relevance to the event. However, I frequently come across various news articles or discussions on social media platforms regarding who is currently occupying the central position. It turns out they say the one in the center is Yu Shui, the CEO of the technology company Wang Xingxing. So Wang Xingxing is actually a person born in the post-90s era. That's right.
But hey, your words and actions seem to look down on the post-90s.
No, it's just that everyone here, as you might be discussing various topics such as tech giants and influential business leaders, possesses a wealth of experience, maturity, and unique backgrounds that contribute to the conversation. But now, sitting confidently in the middle of the spotlight is a rising star from the post-90s generation. So the question we need to consider is, what are the specific characteristics? During the highly anticipated Spring Festival Gala, if you happen to tune in, you might have noticed an impressive robot performance. This remarkable display was actually brought to life by one of Wang Xingxing's innovative creations from Yushu Technology, showcasing their advancements in robotics.
Hey, is he currently sitting right next to Ma Huateng?
I believe he is, because I distinctly remember Ma Huateng was sitting in the middle just off to the side. Oh, that's definitely Ma Huateng, correct?
He's next to Liu Yonghao and Ma Huateng.
So anyway, he's sitting in the center position, but we can't pull up a picture.
Well, I can certainly elaborate on the topic, so please feel free to continue with your thoughts. I'll just talk about it. So if I look from directly behind him, that is, if you are facing Xi Jinping, the perspective changes. Counting from left to right, I can recognize some people, but the first one seems unrecognizable. The second is Lei Jun. The third is also unrecognizable. Then the fourth is Wang Quanfu. To his right is Ren Zhengfei. And then next to him is Liu Yonghao. Next to him is Ma Huateng. The following items are both unrecognizable and not identifiable. Then on the far right side of the image are prominent figures Jack Ma and Zhang Yukun, representing Ming the Times. So if we carefully follow this reasoning and logic, it applies to both your batteries and your online shopping habits. Yes, and on the other side of the market, you have Xiaomi as well, so put that aside.
Isn't Ma Huateng sitting on the side?
No, this picture isn't taken from the side, my friend.
Visually, it certainly appears that way at first glance. Yes, absolutely. But hey, you keep going, you keep at it.
So is Ma Huateng truly holding the chief executive position in the company?
Well, sort of. If that's the case, but if you say C position, he wasn't given this opportunity by CCTV. When he was called out, he chose not to come outside, which is indeed quite a significant measure of his character. What exactly do you call this kind of behavior or attitude?
No way, that's wrong. CCTV won't be wrong.
Yeah, so people are always interpreting, why is that? Well, this is the talented Wang Xingxing. No, he definitely isn't sitting next to Ma Huateng. No, he absolutely isn't sitting next to Ma Huateng.
All right, that's absolutely correct. Good.
I'm not quite sure why, but I find that I can't interpret these. Absolutely, I agree. Why would I approach it this way? As you pointed out, could it be that times have truly changed now? In the past, it was commonly said that we might rely heavily on various industries such as automotive manufacturing, mobile phones, and what do you call these technological advancements?
What do you call these?
Not high-tech manufacturing, yes, but now high-tech manufacturing includes some AIDC, and if robots mix together, actually integrating, like, for example, recently with Meituan, okay? Meituan stock prices are quite poor. They are recovering now. Yeah, nothing special, just nothing special. However, if we were able to successfully merge these two essential components, specifically their innovative delivery services alongside the skilled drivers from DD, might they begin to contemplate the next significant step toward transforming China into a truly intelligent and highly efficient country, leveraging technology for broader societal benefits? A very intelligent country.
Well, we will always think about one thing. That is to say, we often hear it, don't we? Wow, it's incredibly convenient in mainland China now. You just call a simple number and you can easily get takeout delivered.
It's true, right?
Summoned rides offer convenience as you can enter the car upon arrival. Right. But in this world we live in, there are absolutely no free lunches available. That's what Milk Tea Freeman mentioned, isn't it? Nothing comes without a cost. So who pays the price? is the dedicated labor and effort provided by the hard-working members of the public. Consider this. Every single time you order takeout, what challenges does the delivery person encounter along the way? A highly stressful environment. Yes, they have to deliver the food to you in a very short time, or they will lose money. So even if they meet all the conditions, how much do they earn? How much is it? Yes, it's quite similar to driving a car. You know, if we head over to the checkpoint, just like we usually do when we visit our familiar office. How much would that be? If you're choosing to rent a premium car, the cost is approximately 300 RMB. The journey typically requires around 3 to 4 characters. Yes, and naturally it doesn't rely on fuel, but charging it still incurs some costs. In mainland China, the cost of electricity is about 0 to 2 RMB per kilowatt. 1 kilowatt of energy enables a mainland electric car to travel approximately 4 kilometers. That's approximately 5 cents for each kilometer traveled. Yeah, around 3 to 5 cents per kilometer. So if you carefully calculate it this way, it actually adds up to a few extra bucks, not even counting the additional car fare expenses. And you also need to consider the labor cost, which could earn you around $3 or $4 per hour worked. In this episode, the hard work and effort of skilled manpower come at a cost for your ultimate convenience and ease of use. Is this truly a sustainable development model for the future? We may not have concrete answers, but we can certainly envision a possibility. If our goal is to cultivate a society or a nation characterized by what could be described as an olive-shaped structure, it would be primarily composed of a robust and thriving middle class. Actually, this model cannot be sustained. It's not feasible. Of course, technology has its own development, but other issues are social problems. However, these social costs can actually hinder overall technological progress. In the early stages of technological advancement, inexpensive labor has significantly accelerated this crucial development. Therefore, it is essential for us to understand why certain big data platforms in China have flourished particularly well. The underlying cost that contributes to this success primarily stems from the labor involved in building and maintaining these platforms, which has been relatively affordable and abundant in the region. Alright, so beginning with DISC, there are some individuals who question whether their AI model can genuinely be classified as a deep learning AI model, and they also wonder if the reported training costs are in fact as low as claimed by the developers. Some individuals may question this perspective, but I truly do not care about their doubts or criticisms regarding my choices. However, I firmly believe we should continue to closely observe the situation at hand. What I have carefully observed is that DeepSide possesses some remarkable logical computational capabilities that are truly outstanding, consistently performing more efficiently and effectively than many existing AI models currently available on the market. Not only ChatGPT, but potentially GPT models could apply too. Their current AI models lack efficiency. They do not carry out logical computations as efficiently as other systems or methods might. They certainly have their notable strengths, but whether they can consistently win all benchmarks when compared against existing augmented reality models remains an open question and a significant challenge. The second significant challenge we face is that numerous governments and official agencies are actively prohibiting their affiliated companies or departments from utilizing software that integrates with DICER, thereby limiting collaboration and innovation in this area. This situation has significantly hindered some of DICER's upcoming developments. Yes, so these are the notable challenges they will face in the future.
But speaking of which, actually, in the A-share market, the related concepts that have dropped have already today hit the limit down. For example, talking about China, Runjin, Dataport, and these, along with new information, all of them have risen.
Right, nothing happened today? Yesterday, everyone said it hit the limit down. Yesterday, yes, yesterday.
But I think it's just a technical adjustment. It's not possible to keep rising like this.
I find limit downs quite annoying and believe it would be better without them. It's just that 10% and then limit down, man. Exactly.
That's right. One day, the stock hits a limit down, then quickly hits a limit up. It makes me think that while AI is worth exploring, not many people are paying attention to Xiaomi, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation. They think Xiaomi is quite rubbish, you know, talking about who on the market. I mean, the various people out there.
Many people continue to use it then. Hey, but when you talk about what they have, their stocks.
At that time, I spoke quite boldly. I watched them. They reached around 80.
Are you still there?
Zhao Zilong inquired in this manner. In terms of my own personal beliefs and perspectives, I still see them at 80, but they are now almost at 50. The YU7 has not yet been released. Yes, just purely whether they have it.
Hey, what I want to say is, we need to consider one thing. We need to return to reality to calculate, do they have the capability to deliver? They are currently delivering over 10,000 cars every month, and while they are at full capacity, they can still expand their production. So is increasing to 40,000 good? We're discussing the possibility of doubling the current percentage we have now. So 40,000 electric vehicles produced by domestic companies would truly make a significant impact on the global market. BYD and Tesla are currently discussing over 70,000 cars being sold monthly. That's right. So I truly have a solid grasp of this concept, so please remember that important fact. The reason I always say that it's expensive is not just because the stock price has risen a lot, but because on this planet, if you look for similar stocks like mobile phone or car stocks, they are actually expensive too. I'm not afraid of them rising too much. I'm worried they cost too much. Well, if you ask me, hey, everything is expensive, which one is cheap? I pick 175. Oh, if it's about car stocks, yes.
Hey, Tesla, because of 175, you mentioned I haven't looked at its trend for a long time.
The projected PE ratio for 175 remains about 100 times. In the case of forecasts, I think at least the persuasiveness will be a bit stronger. That's correct. But often individuals who have a passion for counting typically do not earn substantial amounts of money.
Yes, or maybe buying stocks isn't very rational, and surprisingly they might win, playing it at zero cost. That's it for now, yes, but personally I really like Xiaomi, so I continue to keep an eye on it. But also, I want to mention a bit more, because today there's a piece of news I want to share with you. It's also about China. Just to follow up. Let's go like this. Indeed, that's correct. The founder of Fluctuate is referencing high-altitude strategies within high-altitude organizations. 财新国, yes. He considered creating a fund that would invest in Indian stocks. A fund? Many people are discussing this news, so I thought we should talk about it today. Hey, little did I know you mentioned a specific market that I truly prefer, which is India.
India? Why?
Well, I think right now, since China's population is slowly decreasing, people aren't having babies. In stark contrast, India continues to experience a steady increase in birth rates, with mothers actively having babies. This phenomenon contributes to a growing youthful population. Conversely, when compared to India, China's youth demographic appears to be declining, indicating that its youth trend may not keep pace with India's vibrant growth. The labor force is weakening due to declining birth rates.
China is facing a decline in its population. So your population is aging?
So, when your labor market isn't as robust or competitive as China's, it becomes a challenge for growth. Additionally, I've observed that numerous companies are gradually transitioning their operations from China to India. To be honest, even major firms like Apple and its various manufacturers are part of this trend. While I was actively looking for comprehensive information on various topics, I discovered that today there is an intriguing report regarding the world's largest capacitor manufacturer, Murata Manufacturing. The report highlights that the company is relocating some of its production capacity to India, given that currently a significant 60% of its total production is based in Japan. This discussion focuses on the various components produced by the company that are utilized in a wide range of electronic products, including those from prominent brands like Apple and Samsung in mobile phones, as well as in Sony's renowned cameras and the popular PlayStation 5 gaming console. NVIDIA's powerful servers are also effectively utilizing their essential raw materials. Now, they are in the process of relocating this manufacturing factory to India, which incorporates these essential energy components, or perhaps we should refer to them as energy products for better clarity and understanding.
It's simply that the manufacturers have already begun production, as capacitors are an essential type of electronic component used in various devices. Here are some important components found on circuit boards, including capacitors, listed one by one for clarity.
For instance, during the initial phase of China's economic opening, many entrepreneurs and investors established factories across the country, which gradually contributed to the remarkable development and expansion of today's robust Chinese economy. In fact, it closely mirrors and replicates China's earlier developmental path and model, does it not?
So do you think this mixed fund has some potential issues or concerns that we should be aware of?
I'm not purchasing the mixed fund as I'm focused on ETFs, right? Absolutely. I'm consistently investing in several companies' exchange-traded funds, ETFs, every month. In fact, it has indeed been steadily dropping over time, and I've been genuinely worried about it. Yes, it has been quite difficult to manage, but I have a few important points to mention regarding this situation. I want to strongly and firmly believe in my personal conviction.
If your confidence lies in the potential of the Indian market or the overall growth of the Indian economy, then yes, I wholeheartedly support that perspective. I agree, but you said, hey, I'm clearly losing money. Why is that? What is an ETF? An exchange-traded fund, ETF, is a type of investment fund that can be actively traded on a stock exchange, and these funds typically hold a selection of physical stocks which are directly linked to specific market indices, allowing investors to diversify their portfolios efficiently. So, if you are linked to the indices of Japan or India, it means the stocks you hold are listed in India. We need to carefully consider whether economic development should genuinely align with the overall soundness and stability of the financial market. Not necessarily, hey, China's economy is currently facing significant struggles. As the saying goes, a skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. Yes, in recent years, although China's economy has slowed down, it still has seen growth. Consider the growth of A shares, right? Indeed, this illustrates that the financial market often experiences a degree of mismatch with the overall economy. So if you decide to buy it, you definitely won't die, right? That is the largest in India. Not sure if we can access Indian stocks here.
Hey, Tata should definitely have it, right? Go on. Tata, oh, sorry. Hey, but I ended up dropping Data Chen during our conversation.
Tata is indeed a car brand, but it also operates as a subsidiary within a larger corporate structure. Nonetheless, it's important to remember that the financial market will consistently experience mismatches and fluctuations, which means that purchasing shares or investing is not always necessary or advisable. For stocks that are listed in India, if you have a positive outlook on the Indian market, you can consider purchasing stocks similar to the one you just mentioned. What was that company called again? Oh, right, Chuantian. Yes, you can invest in Chuantian stocks, which are actually Japanese stocks. Yes, you can actively seek and look for a potential investor in the Japanese market who would be interested in investing in these opportunities, particularly if their production capacity is based in India. The one most people recognize immediately is Apple, right? Able is also well known, correct? Example provided, not a specific recommendation. Hey Apple, so our strategic thinking can transition from investing in Indian ETFs to concentrating on the growth of individual Indian companies. The situation obviously involves a much deeper analysis and thought process. And what exactly is water doing in this situation?
So why is it often said that we need to create a dedicated ETF focused specifically on India? Well, that's just their own statement. It's just the law. So that's it for now. Carson Block mentioned that the geopolitical risks are concerning, and he feels that the accounting practices of local companies are somewhat unreliable and not entirely trustworthy.
So are we talking about Hong Kong, talking about China?
Yes, that's why he remains cautious about China. This is his primary reason, as he feels that the numbers are somewhat misleading or unclear.
The estimates from China's 2 sessions are considered unreliable.
Yes, so this is indeed his official statement, right? Waters' statement conveyed that he truly believes that indeed that's the situation. So he's scheduled to go to India next week. He'll take a closer look at the current local investment environment. So I think to myself, hey, we can check if they will have any reports available later on.
However, if everyone takes a closer look at Weibo, Xiaohongshu, or even X, you'll notice that the pro-China side frequently engages in mocking commentary. They often ridicule India, claiming that when you look at their infrastructure, it is unfortunately quite poor. Yes, in India, some roads are in disrepair and need significant improvement, but it's important to recognize the efforts being made to develop and enhance the country's infrastructure as well. Well, it is possible that water supply systems and other utilities are not well constructed or even quite inadequate in many areas. This situation certainly poses a negative factor for investors in the manufacturing sector. Yes, because many high-tech manufacturing industries need water sources, you need cooling, and so on.
Speaking of India, my husband recently told our son that since we've been eating Indian curry, our son really enjoys it. He said he wants to take you to India, but please don't drink the water there. Just don't drink it when you get there, or bring your own bottled water.
How do you store it like in a warehouse? Isn't it? Half one gig.
Isn't it?
Because you know their water sources are really questionable, so why not just head over to Chongqing Mansions for some delicious curry? You're right, but maybe go to Shetkong. I'll take you to Shetkong.
Actually, I wouldn't take my son to India, to be honest, but since you mentioned it, he said to take our son to India and tell him not to drink the water because of the Ganges, the water. They have numerous industries, and interestingly, they utilize the same water source for showering, washing clothes, and even for drinking purposes.
Honestly, when you travel anywhere in the world, you wouldn't just drink the water straight, right?
Using the restroom is quite similar, isn't it? When dining in India, simply enjoy curry while in Japan. Like that. Also, I have a friend who works in a bank, and he mentioned something to me. Well, he said to invest in Indian ETFs, but you have to be cautious about the local situation, as there are still many corruption issues that haven't been resolved.
India's key issues include both corruption and bureaucracy. India has inherited its complex bureaucratic system from the British colonial era it once endured. However, you can't simply replicate the entire system. You may find it difficult to reproduce the necessary checks and balances that ensure its proper functioning. This situation ultimately results in a highly bureaucratic state, which complicates processes like bill credit. So corruption continues to be a significant issue. Right, so these various issues largely depend on your individual perspective, and they also create a significant amount of room for personal and professional development.
Changes are occurring slowly over time.
Yes, yes. From my perspective, it truly feels like a paradise for both investors and entrepreneurs looking to thrive and succeed in their ventures. When it comes to making informed decisions about investing in the local stock market, you might find it quite puzzling. Yes, it's like a mouse pulling a turtle.
So I'm also watching the trends slowly, but Gary mentioned that many people in India steal electricity.
And it's quite chaotic. India is really chaotic, and they can't manage it. For those who thrive on adventure, the more chaotic and unpredictable the environment, the more opportunities arise.
Danger presents clear opportunities.
It's simply that if you are looking to invest in the most stable markets, perhaps the US economy will never truly fail, right?
Right. The S&P 500 reached a record high yesterday. We can discuss the US situation later. Let's discuss it first since we can. Just now, I came across this intriguing chart, and I genuinely want to engage in a discussion about it with you once more. Specifically regarding Hong Kong, there's a particular stock that I haven't brought up in quite a while, but quite quietly today it reached an impressive peak of 88.8, and that stock is none other than HSBC. Oh, is HSBC currently at 88.8 today? It has reached a new recent high, yes.
Yes, so how long has it been since it was this high? Where is this line?
This point, wait a moment, let me find the mouse. Where's the mouse?
It's here, here, here.
Hey, please hold on just a moment while I scroll down a bit.
Yes, that's it, done. Let's draw the monthly line.
Please hold on for just a moment. Only a second while I take a moment to ask. It's been a significant 13 years since we first reached this important point.
Isn't it? Just kidding, right?
No, it's 13 years.
Wow, it's truly incredible that it's been over a decade at this high point. It's been more than 10 years? It's truly a completely different world. This year is now 2025, so if you calculate 13 years, it actually means 12 years, right? No 3 makes a few, and in math, 12 years has already cycled back to the last snake year.
Yes.
Exactly.
I prefer not to discuss this stock right now because I need to make a declaration.
All right, I hold HSBC. Yeah, I have it too.
I need to declare, but neither you nor I have to.
Yes, okay, but because HSBC has already released its fourth quarter results, the final dividend is 36 cents, and they are further planning to buy back $2 billion in shares. Thus, their fourth quarter financial results reported an impressive annual increase of 1.3 times compared to last year. Hey, what's going on? The profit before tax has increased by 1.3 times year on year, reaching 2.8 billion USD, which aligns with market expectations as the baseline is adjusted. You only have 1.65 billion USD, so the final dividend is 36 cents, that's it. Additionally, the stock buyback program should be completed in the short term, ideally before the announcement of the first quarter results, to maximize impact and investor confidence, that's it.
2 billion USD in shares, yes. They said they will continue buying back more.
That's it. Yes. Also, previously there have been many reports, whether from Hong Kong News or from mainland Xiaohongshu, talking about HSBC, that they will actually streamline staff, meaning they will continue to cut jobs. They also mentioned that they will work on simplifying the group's overall structure.
Their positive outlook is partly due to this reason.
Yes, is it because they have made cuts to unnecessary expenses to save money?
They cut your middle management, right? Yes. During the New Year celebration, I was with a colleague, someone I know from HSBC, and we were enjoying a visit together. Everyone was happily chatting, and he was enthusiastically praising this situation, claiming that layoffs can actually be beneficial. Why is that? He thinks that middle management is permanent. Oh, right. And this is indeed also the growing trend in modern enterprises. It's really about having a flat management structure which promotes open communication. Yes, the hierarchy is no longer overly stacked, but is instead becoming more streamlined with each passing day, right? And it's developing horizontally.
How does it develop horizontally?
It implies that all junior employees, without exception, report directly to the CEO.
But isn't the CEO too busy?
Yes.
I'm emphasizing my point.
Yes. So naturally, it's not simply about having one highly focused CEO in charge. You hold a senior management position within the established organizational hierarchy. But you lack a middle management layer.
That is to help you learn. But sometimes having too many customers can be quite annoying. That's correct. Every similar topic can lead to others discussing various aspects, so your ideas may remain stagnant.
Oh, but when it comes to response, they really focus a great deal on improving efficiency. Yes, it's not too isolated because there are several internal commitments in place to respond effectively when needed. Well, it's rumored that I will say this now, but it's not officially announced. For instance, when you send an email inquiry, you should expect to receive a response within a reasonable 48-hour period. Indeed, even if you have not fully completed the task, it is still essential to inform them within 48 hours regarding what actions you are currently taking and how you plan to address it. Absolutely. This level of commitment can significantly enhance both communication and overall efficiency when managing various tasks effectively. Yes, but HSBC has been, since the year 2008, consistently struggling with its cost-to-income ratio and has been unable to effectively reduce it. But now that you have finally made the important decision to streamline its organizational structure, the market is finally feeling convinced and more optimistic about the future prospects. In this particular case, it will definitely have a positive impact on both its overall performance and stock price.
Yes, and I noticed that upon reviewing some detailed information, HSBC has made its position very clear. They mentioned that during the years 2025 to 2026, Guangdong Province will be responsible for covering $1.8 billion in severance and additional prepaid costs. This initiative is designed to achieve specific company objectives that many industry experts and stakeholders are currently discussing. One notable goal is to significantly reduce benchmark operating expenses, which is expected to decrease by an impressive $1.8 billion. This reduction will ultimately enhance overall efficiency and improve the company's financial performance moving forward. Therefore, if that is indeed the case, it strongly indicates that layoffs will likely continue moving forward.
Oh, yes.
Continuing to streamline. Yes, exactly. Additionally, in 2025, HSBC outlined an ambitious target for its banking operations, aiming to reach a substantial net interest income of $42 billion, reflecting its growth strategy and financial goals. To successfully reach these specific targets, it is essential that you definitely need to cut out any unnecessary expenses. Yes, that's right.
The current expectation regarding interest rate cuts has transitioned from being perceived as more aggressive to a noticeably less aggressive stance, with analysts and economists now anticipating just one cut during this year. This is positive for his interest income. It also provides him with a pretty good and lucrative charging market opportunity.
So I don't have my HSBC, I just continue slowly. Because it's actually just a collection method. I don't know about you, I'm just collecting too. I don't know about you, but Gary mentioned he bought an astonishing 11 planets, which is quite remarkable. We can discuss that intriguing topic later, but first, I noticed some interesting news today that I want to share.
Sorry, let's go back to the daily line first.
Oh, sorry, okay. Today he mentioned that he purchased a total of 11 items from the store. Yes, indeed, there is significant news today regarding his non-performing loan ratio, which has risen to a concerning 6.12.
He seems to have mentioned his performance.
Absolutely. So what are your thoughts on these two options? Honestly, there's simply no comparison between them.
February 19th, it's definitely HSBC.
He will announce his results today. Yes, but there hasn't been any announcement of the results yet. I don't seem to see anything new or different here. I can certainly take a closer look, but as of now, I still don't observe anything that stands out or catches my attention. Still haven't seen anything.
What? What?
Oh, yes, right here indeed. Yes, absolutely.
We typically assess the union's performance by reviewing the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Ultimately, this is the essence of the performance. You must be quick and decisive, as there will be no one available to filter or guide you on what to focus on. It's essential that you understand what to prioritize and look for on your own. Okay, I remember you taught me that. Hey, can you help me understand why I really have to choose HSBC for my banking needs? Actually, allow me to provide you with a simple example. I have several colleagues, and among them we have a few who work in various other countries, including possibly in Southeast Asia. Some of our colleagues, in fact, work in various countries abroad. If you choose to work abroad, it's essential to establish a place to live, and to facilitate that, you will need to open a bank account. Some of my colleagues may have relied on local banks, such as Hang Seng, for many years for their banking needs. When they go abroad, they actually need to open a HSBC account, again, no joke, in Hong Kong. It will be easier to use when you're abroad or accessing other international banks. Although Hang Seng is under HSBC, it basically has no international coverage. That's right. So this is the first important point to consider. Well, if their business operations are primarily focused on local markets, you need to take the time to thoroughly understand their specific banking business model before proceeding with any further analysis or decision making. What is their business model? Two things. One type is designed for individuals seeking small loans, while the other caters specifically to property owners. Upon reviewing these factors, it appears that the asset quality may not meet the expected standard, which I believe presents quite a challenging situation. This is the first concern. Second, the bad debt rate might rise, which is a worry. Third, The growth potential for the economy will likely decrease because banks will exercise increased caution in lending. When the economy is struggling or performing poorly, you will definitely tend to be more conservative. Really? Let's take a moment to check the Hang Seng Index, shall we? Sure, let's take a moment to check what the current interest rate is right now. Actually, they offer an interest rate of around 6%, which is lower than HSBC's rate. HSBC is currently offering around 7%. Right, they raised it to around 7%, and you can see the stock price has been high lately. If I must make a choice, I definitely wouldn't select the underperforming Hang Seng Index. There's a clear reason for its poor performance. The reason is its target market structure. You can tell without looking at the performance. The overall outcome of the current situation and the targeted market conditions are not favorable, placing it in a distinctly unfavorable position for the medium to long-term future.
So if you purchased it at $11, Gary, could you please elaborate on your reasons for thinking that way? I want to know more about this topic as well. It's similar to how I feel about the BBC. I want to grasp a deeper understanding because sometimes Gary offers some truly unique and thought-provoking insights that can really broaden my perspective. I mean, I'd absolutely love for everyone to share their thoughts and experiences, but there's really no pressure. Even just sharing is perfectly fine and appreciated.
But hey, I am genuinely curious to understand why you decided to buy it in that particular way.
All right, so I also need to explain myself first. Why? Because a long time ago, I actually came across 2217, and I thought at that time I was still in the process of learning during the series stage. 2217 refers to Tanzai, which is an important concept in that context.
Yes, that's right. He mentioned that he believes Hong Kong's real estate market is particularly challenging, so you will need to endure and be resilient alongside him in this situation. I agree that Hong Kong's real estate situation is indeed tough.
Yes, how tough is it? Do you think it will actually crash soon? It won't crash. Hong Kong is solid, because no matter what challenges arise, it will always hold up and remain steadfast.
Why do you think so? Consider it carefully. Having a rational reason is essential.
My rational reason for this observation is that, in fact, a significant number of individuals from mainland China are continuously arriving in Hong Kong with the intention to live there. Yes, to establish their residence, yes.
That's why the rent is so high.
Yes, but people still generally don't buy property because when they come here, they are still in the exploratory stage, or maybe they are in the stage of their kids going to school.
They're just stepping on it, just using the pedals.
But if I truly want to stay here for a longer time, then I might have to consider buying it. Right? What I mean to say is that it isn't the local Hong Kong residents who are driving up the property prices. Rather, it's individuals from the mainland who are doing so. So, although I don't completely oppose this view, what I mean is that it probably won't drop as significantly as it did in the 1990s, when purchasing a house in Chung Chau could cost approximately $200,000. Suddenly, maybe buying a village house in Tsuen Wan could be around $1 million.
Typically, property prices tend to drop sharply during economic downturns, primarily because these transactions often involve mortgages, which means they are subject to high leverage and can significantly affect buyers' purchasing power. Typically, during significant crises, there are sharp economic declines, much like what we are witnessing in the mainland right now. The mainland is currently facing a significant structural problem. The population is no longer increasing. Marriage rates are low. Only 6 million couples got married last year. Yeah, that's a third less.
And the divorce rate is high, right?
What is the current divorce rate in our society today? How much is 1/6? Well, it's 10%, meaning 1 in every 6 couples gets divorced.
Yeah. However, just as a brief side note, I recently came across an interesting news article today regarding a newly constructed building in Kowloon Tong. This new real estate development is currently selling for a staggering price of 4.06 million Hong Kong dollars for a compact area of approximately 200 square feet. It certainly highlights the escalating property prices in that region.
I wouldn't pay that, because in the past you could buy a whole new flat for just a few tens of thousands. Meifu Sunquan initially had only a few tens of thousands.
That's right, just recently. However, if you take into account the ongoing inflation rates and the current value of money, it becomes evident that this situation represents a favorable opportunity. Therefore, you should purchase 2 units from me, as it truly is a worthwhile investment given the circumstances.
You buy, right? You usually help me buy.
Maybe I should ask my husband to pay for me. But let me say this first. In the year 2217, I really want to keep this personal experience to myself. Back when I watched it unfold, it truly seemed as if the boss was teaching us to keep on buying. It genuinely felt like the prices would eventually go up significantly. There was a certain place that kept buying stock. But Sikas has no problem trading big stocks.
For stock trading, refer to SICAs.
But the issue is that while watching, there's no trading, which means it might just be these short-term small fluctuations.
CCAS is intended for short-term trading.
Didn't he teach me that? However, the issue is that everyone is aware he is currently in the process of privatizing, a move that has already been publicly announced. The privatization price has been officially set at 58 cents, meaning they will be buying back shares at that specified price. Yes, and the daily price is around 76%.
Great deal, but feels very silly.
Yes, so you really need to carefully analyze this information because in fact you should inform everyone about when it was listed, what the initial listing price was, and that it stayed consistently at $333 million. Is the listing price for the property $33 million, right?
The price is approximately 3 point something. It's 333, right?
Yes. Oh, right. So are we still waiting patiently for an update? Okay. So do you think this whole matter is merely an attempt to fool shareholders into complacency, or is it genuinely meant to sort out the underlying issues? Reflecting on the past now, he continually asks, return the goods?
Let's first clarify the situation. In the year 2021, the initial listing price of Tamjai was set at 333. So how much are they collecting now?
Now they are collecting 147. Collecting 147. Collecting 147.
The suggested price for privatization is set at 158. Actually, when they proposed it, the stock price had reached an impressive 76% before it was ultimately suspended. Yes, that is indeed how the story goes, exactly. So the pertinent question is, were they indeed seeking input from you, the minority shareholders, and do you happen to know any of those individuals involved in this inquiry? Things like that. I think both sides, you and the minority shareholders, must have some connections. What will you do if you don't collect? It will be quite difficult for you to get them to release cash easily. Right, isn't that so? You can't withdraw. You can't back out. They stated no price hike. Do you want to ask the elder? That's how it is. That's what I mean. Yes, from your perspective, they will definitely maximize their profits. However, if you examine it from a different perspective, without this, how can significant investors generate profits? The capital market fundamentally revolves around the concept of sharing wealth, don't you think? I've made enough. Let's all profit together. That won't happen, right? The fundamental role of the capital market is to operate under established rules of the game, ensuring everything is highly transparent. Unfortunately, there's little you can do to change this reality. Now let's carefully calculate how they strategically play the game. Their listing price was 3.3, and now it's back at 5.8. That money is already kept, right? The minimum amount has already been kept. If you take a closer look at the detailed prospectus, you'll find that this soft shell company from 2019 to 2021, prior to its stock market listing, actually generated an impressive total of 365 million in interest earnings. Yes, after that, 336 million, yes, 365 million, 3 years since listing, and they earned over 300 million in interest again over the next 3 years. So that's like back and forth. Plus, before the listing, they distributed 280 million. Three amounts combined. That's 953 million in dividends. Wow, that's really quite something, don't you think? Right. Additionally, Tan now has cash in his pocket, and at this moment, he currently possesses a remarkable 789 million in cash. Wow, including dividends, that's over 1.7 billion in 8 years. Wow, that's truly quite something remarkable, isn't it? He still possesses his assets and related items. And also there's him. Yeah, hey, if you take everything into account, what would you say his current market value is now? Let's say 217, right here, this one right here. So we can clearly see that its current market value is approximately 1.9 billion or 1.98 billion. Actually, he holds his shares so he doesn't need to cash out 1.98 billion. As long as he successfully collects back his 24% stake in the company, he will have the opportunity to gain full ownership, allowing him to potentially privatize the entire business if he chooses to do so. Now, he is clearly making a decisive move, leveraging a price that is significantly higher than before the suspension to pressure you. But of course, hey, if I sell at this price as a small shareholder, can I still vote with you?
Oh, so if you decide to let me go and the price rises again, what would stop me from selling then? So just now the foundation said softshell total makes sense. Could it be that they are squeezing you to let you go?
I believe he's not intentionally squeezing you. He simply proposed a price of 7 times 6. Yes, indeed, it's considered a relatively high normal price in the market. But it's clear that they won't raise the price. In short, you have to decide whether to accept or not. If not, just continue. I'll send you a cue board. Guess the color. Oh.
But now privatization is still quite reasonable. Successful, right?
Not sure. We need to vote.
Okay, but actually today, is there enough time? I thought we would have more time to discuss, but let's talk a bit about S&P 500 since it broke the resistance yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yes, talking about the US stocks.
Yes, let's talk a bit more. The S&P 500 broke the resistance yesterday. So it's urgent because it hit a new high. 6 at 129 was the closing price. Also, there's news about Intel possibly splitting up. After the news of the split, Intel actually rose by 16%. The closing price was $27.39. So it's actually the highest increase in the last 5 years. It was the largest single-day increase since March 2020. There are reports that TSMC and Broadcom are interested in acquiring different businesses from Intel. What do you think about this? Let's also take a look at Intel. It seems like you sold it quite a while ago, right?
Yes, it was a long time ago. It was Intel, but the factors back then were different from today.
What were the selling factors back then? It was because a few years ago I should have known you.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. But why were you selling back then? Selling chips, trading chips?
Oh!
Yes, but later on, ALM wasn't on the market yet. It was ALM that was taking over the x86 market. Yes, and actually in the x86 world, AMD was already taking Intel's market. So I was actually buying more and more AMD.
Oh yes, I was actually looking more at AMD. But now the show is all about AMD, but I still say the x86 market is being taken over by ALM.
Yes, yes. So when you buy a new machine, you won't use it, or mobile phones won't use it. Well, no. It will definitely be the ALM architecture. Yes, yes. So yesterday was, but if you look at the chip stocks, we are looking at some ETFs. SOX is the one to pay attention to. The reason is that funds are clearly flowing into semiconductors this round, and also some software stocks. So their performance will definitely outperform other industries. Yes, because time is limited, so this job to conclusion, we are going to add it to the watch list, SOXX, and also look at some software ETFs. IGV is also a major ETF, you can tell by looking at the front. Right here. So you see funds flowing into software and semiconductor stocks. Of course, some analysts say that in the current strong dollar environment, it is particularly favorable for traditional companies like McDonald's and multinational corporations. But I am also worried about the global economy and some trade barriers. So if you ask me to choose an industry, I would still choose the tech sector. In the tech sector, no matter how you look at it, M7 is the one because M7 has also had some pullbacks recently. Well, of course, M7 is always worth buying and it's always worth putting your poker in it. But besides that, consider some ETFs.
Yeah, right.
There are still many options in the market. I mean, not just M7, but the ETFs I just mentioned. Okay, we're not specifically recommending 2 ETFs, but I think you can add them to your watch list to keep an eye on this industry.
Okay, got it. It's just that I've been noticing quite a few ETFs lately. For example, there's VOO, and recently the iPhone 500 has been rising, which has actually been going on for a while. Yes, it's been soaring continuously. So VOO and SPLG, I'm keeping an eye on them as well.
Can you explain what they are? Hey, can you tell us what they are?
VOO? Oh, not yet. I can gather more information next time and share with everyone. It's the S&P 500, right? They're all S&P 500, so what's the difference in their performance? But I'm just looking at the charts, so I'm studying this with you like I just mentioned. There's also SPPLG, VOO, and SPLG, and they are just different issuers. Well, I'm currently researching them, actually considering which ones to buy and what the ratios are. Oh, okay. Since you taught me how to look at these things before, I hope next time we can spend a bit more time discussing DETF so everyone knows, not just the old stories.
So not just the old stuff, because the fluctuations are smaller and everyone still needs to sleep at night, right? Is it EDM?
Yes, and you can also create your own portfolio. That's right, so let's see how Jizai pairs with Moon. So thank you all for your time today. Next time we'll talk more about US stocks. We'll meet again next Wednesday at the same time. See you next Wednesday. Bye. Bye.